Hi guys, cinematic recapped here. Before we start, warning. Spoilers ahead. Today, I'm gonna explain an American science fiction, drama, and psychological thriller movie, called Vanilla Sky. The movie tells the story of a man named David Ohms. He is the owner of a large publishing company which he inherited from his father, but he chooses to give up his responsibilities in the company so that he can live a free life. At the beginning of the movie, David is seen waking up from his sleep after he hears a whisper which sounds "Open your eyes." He then wakes up with a stressed face. While he is driving his car, he is panicked as there is no sign of life around him. David gets out of his car and immediately runs away terrified, thinking he's the only person in the world. Strangely, what happened next is that he wakes up from his sleep again. Turns out it was just a bad dream. Not only that, there is a woman who apparently slept with him the night before. Her name is Julie. She loves David very much and hopes he will marry her one day, but unfortunately David only sees her as a friend. At his office, David leaves the duties of the publisher to his father's trusted associates while living as a playboy in Manhattan. Long story short, he is introduced to Sophia by his best friend, Brian, during a birthday party. At that time, David immediately falls in love with Sophia and they spend the night together at Sophia's apartment. Meanwhile, Julie, who is still expecting David's love, quietly follows them there. At first, Sophia doesn't seem interested in David. However, David's temptation makes her fall in love with him too. As David leaves the house, it turns out that Julie is waiting outside to offer him a ride, which he accepts. On their way, Julie reveals her jealousy of Sophia. Hence, she purposely crashes the car, killing herself and drastically disfiguring David's face, leaving it scarred and misshapen. Sadly, doctors cannot completely repair David's face. Not even the best doctors in town could do it because the medical science of plastic surgery is not developed at this time. Therefore, he has to wear a prosthetic mask around others to protect his face for a year. In addition, the mental and physical scarring from the earlier accident causes him to become withdrawn and depressed, especially he is unable to meet Sophia with his current facial condition. One day, David ventures to meet Sophia because he has missed her for so long. After Sophia sees his face for the first time, she is surprised by David's face. But since Sophia is reluctant to talk about it, she acted as if David's face is not too bad. David is happy to hear that and invites Sophia to join him and Brian at a club. That night when David arrives there, Sophia feels uncomfortable with David who is drunk with his disfigured face. He also forces Sophia to tell the truth about his face because in fact he already knows that Sophia has been pretending to like him all along. On their way home, Sophia says that she wants to go home alone, and so does Brian. At this moment, he thinks that since the previous accident had ruined his face, Sophia left him and got into a relationship with Brian instead. He is disappointed and immediately chases after Sophia, but because he is too drunk, he ends up wallowing in the middle of the street outside the club. The next morning, David is awakened by Sophia's whisper of "Open your eyes," just like the whisper at the beginning of the movie. Afterwards, Sophia says that she still loves David and it turns out that David's thoughts about Sophia and Brian's relationship last night were just his imagination because he was drunk. Eventually, the two go home together and they have been living together ever since. Sophia also helps David emotionally recover over time. The day finally comes when David's facial healing process is completed. When the mask is removed, his face is healed and back to normal, which makes Sophia happier than ever. While David's life seems perfect, he notices strange oddities in his life, such as brief visions of his distorted face, and a strange man at a bar who tells David that he could control the world and everyone in it. Because of this, he has thought several times that all his current happiness is just a dream. One day, while at Sophia's apartment, David wakes up to find himself facing Julie, who should be Sophia because Julie has died in the accident. Furthermore, he finds all the photos of Sophia's face replaced by Julie's. Out of confusion and shock, he suffocates Julie to death. Later, David is arrested and imprisoned for the murder, and finds his face no longer reconstructed and he's once again wearing the mask. He is also accompanied by Dr. Curtis McCabe, a psychologist who listens to all of David's stories. Dr. McCabe actually wants to explore the motive for the murder because David is considered insane by the police, saying that he did not kill Sophia, but Julie. At the end of the interviews, David suddenly recalls the name of a company called Life Extension. Seeing a company with that name nearby, Dr. McCabe arranges to take David there under guard. When they arrive, Rebecca, a company representative, explains how Life Extension uses cryonic suspension to save those suffering from terminal illnesses until a cure can be found in the future. During that period of time, they are kept in a lucid dream state to exercise their mind. Additionally, Rebecca also explains that he is not alone in the lucid dream, but he is accompanied and guided by tech support. With all this information, David finally realizes that he is in his own lucid dream all this time, which has become a nightmare. He immediately escapes from Dr. McCabe and then the guards while calling for tech support. He then rushes for the building's lobby, which is suddenly empty. After a while, an elevator suddenly opens, revealing the strange man from the bar, who invites him in straight away. As the elevator climbs to the top of an impossibly tall building, the strange man explains to David that he is the tech support. He also tells that David has been in suspension for 150 years, starting shortly after the night at the club where Sophia broke up with him. It is revealed that he has not seen Sophia in reality since that night. He always feels lonely and misses Sophia all the time. Therefore, he opted for life extension from the internet to be woken when the technology could repair his face. Inevitably, he also left the publishing company in the hands of his father's associates. He was considered dead after he started the program. His best friend, Brian, also held a memorial service for his death. At that moment, it is revealed that David mistakenly thought that Sophia had left him. In fact, she even felt very sad after David died. Back to the lucid dream, they finally emerge on the rooftop, high above the clouds. The tech support tells David that while they have fixed his lucid dream, he has the choice of being put back into the lucid dream, or to be woken up in reality, which requires a literal leap of faith off the roof that will wake him from his sleep. However, the real world is very different from what David remembered before because it has been hundreds of years. Moreover, his financial condition is no longer what it used to be. At the end, he opts to wake up. Before jumping, David envisions Brian and Sophia for the last time to say his goodbyes. He then jumps and his life flashes before hitting the ground. A female voice commands him to open your eyes, and David opens his eyes to come back to life. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.